It's an interesting build of the Priest. Like I've said before, I do just about prefer the build without Galakron, but I really don't hate this list whatsoever from Bankyugi. I like the one Holy Smite, and I really like the one Cabal Shadow Priest. That is a card that has been consistently impressive.
Because really the core of the deck is stealing things with the other Cabal card, Cabal Acolyte, and the Shadow Priest gives you a little bit more consistency later on top of a decent-sized body. And the removal from Priest needs to be absolutely consistent in order to get rid of the questings as soon as they hit the board.
That's true. And, well, it's interesting that you bring that point up, because I agree, questings do have to die. How you go about that, though, is a little bit more up to debate, because you can go for the removal strategy, of course, but there's also just the proactive game plan, which is why I think Tom very cleverly held on to one backstab here, because Priest has some pretty strong early tempo plays that you have to be able to deal with.
They do. Just the Sethic early on, or even Wand Makers in certain lists, can be quite threatening. What's interesting to me is Bankyugi kept three cards, which with other cards in combination can be very strong, but they don't synergize very well with each other.
Yeah, they don't. I think they're like Pyromancer, we've realized with this build of the deck that runs little early game removal, no Breath of the Infinite. It's kind of the board clear, sorry, so I really don't hate keeping the Wild Pyromancer. The Cleric of Scales is just the weird one for me. We've seen it being kept a lot. And maybe it's a small sample size, and on average you are likely to draw more dragons, but it hasn't looked especially impactful so far.
Yeah, I feel like you hold it for the same reason as holding Breath of the Infinite in Druid, but even that card, you only hold it because it can give ramp at its very best, and at its very worst, it is card draw. For Cleric of Scales, it can be completely dead if you don't hit one of the 3 dragons, but thankfully for Bankyugi, he saw the Murazon right on time.
Really interesting position now for Tom, because questing backstab is obviously tempting here. You get a 3/3 on board. It's pretty much only exactly Holy Smite that deals with it, because they don't have the ability to go for a Cabal Acolyte play yet.
50-50!
But now he can go with a Cabal Acolyte play, and half the time he just straight up steals the Hanar, which would be back-breaking for Tom. And it happens! Back-broken!
Man, I feel like Tom has been getting super unlucky every time you've seen him on stream. I just noticed that the Pharaoh Cat generated a Generous Mummy as well.
Yeah.
Give this man a break. Come on, game.
Yeah, while I would love to see the Generous Mummy played, maybe with some synergy with the Cult Neophyte, you can kind of just keep everything where it should be. I don't think that is going to be going down.
Anyway, still a decent position for Tom, because obviously Bankyugi stealing the Hanar denies the value from Tom, but it's not like Bankyugi can get too much value off of it. No Shadow or Death given by this Cleric of Scales is a big deal as well, but he can clear the questing with Pyro Holy Smite trade.
And to be fair, for Tom here going in on this turn, it does mean that Mind Render isn't also a disgustingly powerful card, because if he hadn't and still had coin in his hand, Bankyugi would have snapped a Lucia here and just eaten up the coin, any other cheap spells he can throw in as well.
True. Bankyugi has gone for early Lucia to mess with the Druid hand, and even just getting rid of Coin Broom can be a big deal. I think Bankyugi is one of the best players on Lucia that I've seen on stream.
Agreed. He's very happy to make the risky plays with it.
Ooh. Choosing to leave up questing instead to preserve his own board state. Because to be fair, the line I was suggesting would have left up a Cult Neophyte and you wouldn't have your Cleric or your Hanar left. But it's scary.
It's scary, but that Raised Dead is so illegal to generate as the one card off of the Sethic Veilweaver there. It's currently guaranteed to hit the Cabal Acolyte. Now 2 out of 3, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. So much respect for the Sethic that he sinks 7 damage into it. He's all in on this questing surviving. At least he has 2 good secrets to punish a Raised Dead play from Bankyugi. Gives Tom a lot of resources. Oh! Hello?
Surely you start with Raised Dead, right? You could just steal it. That's game ending. Oh no, wait, I guess you give them their own version, right?
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why he's not going for the big combo. It's plagiarize, which was Tom's insurance policy.
Okay, fair enough.
Where
Fair
the
enough.
Mass Dispel was huge.
Give me a quest.
Gonna go again.
Mm.
Go renew? Or is it just play the 2 minions? Step Neophyte.
I think I'm probably going Step Cat instead, just to get more value if you're going for that. Like, if you play it once, you've already played around the Soul Mirror, which is the big one.
There.
Oh.
Worse?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably coerce. I feel like, am I crazy for wanting to go Shadow of Death just because we're not winning this game? Like, you can shuffle Hanar into your deck.
Okay, I didn't think of that.
Like, it's not good, but...
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, the others are not impactful enough. I
Yeah.
understand your thinking.
Oh, right, I like it.
Oh, he is going for the double Neophyte play. So that to me, if you're going all in on the board, I'm surprised that we didn't see Cat instead of Renew. But sometimes you do hit
yeah.
like an answer to Hanar maybe off of the Renew.
Yeah, maybe like another Shadow Step instead.
Not another 50-50. Not
Oh
another
my
50-50
God.
that he wins!
Poor Tom. I mean, he's still looking at that Hanar that's been on the board the entire time, just taunting him.
No!
And he gets another mummy! Oh my...
Unbelievable.
He's cursed. Straight up. This is not normal levels of bad luck.
Nowhere near it. I don't know how
Okay.
many reborn minions there are in standard. I want to say somewhere around 15. So the 1 in 15
Ooh.
into 1 in 15 into 2 50-50s that you lose. It's like, oh my
Okay, I'm just going to implore to Tom at this point. The potion does maybe change things, but he's kind of losing this game anyway. Can we just see double generous mummy and let us have fun in this game?
No, there's an evocation. So there's
Okay.
a hope.
There's a game.
Some hope.
There's absolutely a
Hope,
game.
hope, hope. He does kill off the Hanar because this turn was terrible if you just spend it with Shadow of... I don't even know the name of the card. So it's going to be a while before we see a good target for that. But the evocation can make miracles happen. Oh, the
Okay.
potion Murazon!
That's absolutely insane.
Good order too? That's like... Yeah,
Oh
I
my
mean, outside of
God.
the overdraw, not a big deal. But he just copies the wand thieves for himself, too.
Oh, this game's getting ridiculous. Like, I guess Elusha at this point is basically just ruled out because his hand is too good to give to Tom at this point, but I don't think you really care about that.
I am thinking this is the turn to play the Shadow, just because Murazon is an above-average outcome.
Yeah, true.
But that means you're not necessarily even killing the Murazon, so Tom is going for the evocation. He says he needs something better. These are not necessarily better, but the tome can maybe give a box. That's where my head is at now.
Well, I mean, combustion clears the little guys, right? And then you go devolving missiles, hope for a bad 5-drop.
Okay.
And clear the board.
I
It's
wonder
not
if
over.
it was... No, that was the only order to get the snipe on the... That's not a bad 5-drop.
I mean, it's not an especially good one here for Bankyugi either. He's just going to
Okay,
be
fair.
milling his deck.
Too many cards.
This is so weird. And he is milling because the Cult Neophyte makes the Pyro really awkward, plus the 2 spells just generate more things in hand. Even the Renew does that.
Yeah, I mean, the plays are either go for Murazond and just like a bunch of random nonsense happens, or you clear the board with the Pyro, and this makes more sense to me.
You don't pick the one, see?
Is he just feeding more of his minions into the Pyro? I'm confused why we didn't see like a spell before the other minions came down.
Agreed. 0 mana Murazond. Just funny.
Yep.
I guess with this way he gets to heal the Pyro afterwards, so like he doesn't have to use the Renew beforehand. I think this is okay. He has so many minions in hand.
Specifically Wandmaker because he just did not want to use Raised Deads to activate the Pyro, which is understandable.
That is
and Twilight Runner is not going to attack.
Yeah.
Potion!
Oh! Okay. Sensible choice. Sensible choice.
Just too much value. Too much value. Rolling
Well, that's a
Fireball
clear.
basic. Can we just delete Generous Mummy from Standard? I'm sorry. This card is just unplayable.
Yeah. It's sad to generate it every
You
time,
don't
I do agree.
think the walks, eh?
Not Generous Mummy, it's Degenerate Mummy. Okay. Yeah.
Joke's on you,
He
Bankyugi.
now knows it's not plagiarized, so he can keep going with his turn.
Tom sitting there chuckling like a true anime villain. My cards are too bad for you to even get good ones against me. Joke's
All
on you.
according to plan. If in some strange universe Bankyugi ends up playing Illusia and he sees double mummies come back the other way, it would just be hilarious. I want to take Apotheosis.
Yeah, I think Apple as well.
And I think if we're dumping Devolving here to make room in hand, he's just that far ahead.
Yeah, you have the removal, right? If they go for a big Edwin, a big questing, whatever, you just... I mean, both questings are gone, actually, but you have the Shadow Edwin to clear up.
He has everything he could possibly need. What the heck? What, Tom?
Oh! What is
If
happening?
it were true that you could just bank all of your bad luck in one game so that it doesn't affect the other games in the series, then
Okay.
in a weird way, you kind of want that from Tom because he's already gotten so far behind that he's probably not winning this series anyway.
He gets the Witchy Lackey. Brilliant. Finally a break into, like, the worst 6-drop you can possibly get.
I'm losing my mind, Garrett.
How did he even win a world championship with luck like this? He must be that good.
I do remember a certain only keep ultimate infestation into draw all the ramp happening in that series. But
Yeah.
clearly something's different for Tom right now.
Yeah, we're a long way from Kansas now in this particular series. Yeah, okay, sure, let's just nick something, why not?
Dance, puppet, dance.
Wow, the worst target. How unlucky. Okay, I'm gonna try and cast for real now. How about Apotheosis? Or you probably start with a Wandmaker. Okay, I was thinking you would stick the apple on that to the screen. But looks like we're going Horizon instead.
What does he
That's a
even do?
Janus?
Sure, I
Little
mean,
guy.
it's 0 mana for a load of garbage, I'll take that.
Sure. It's a decent Blizzard for Tom.
Pretty good Blizz.
Tested first. I don't even know. I've lost track of how much Tom knows, other than
no, wait.
despair.
He turned the 1/1 Murazon into an 8/8 again.
Oh yeah, you're right! I'm losing it.
Yeah, interesting one there. Interesting.
I mean, I forgot that happens.
So did Tom.
Funnily enough, Bankyugi doesn't even have ways to end the game anytime soon.
I guess, and I suppose that's the biggest chance for Tom to try and wrestle things back, is maybe if he can get this Shadow Ritual or whatever it's even called to shuffle Muros into his deck. You know,
Yeah,
there's something there.
Probably the line.
Draconic? Get a big beefy dragon?
If the card it shuffles is cast when drawn, then it doesn't work in the way you want it to with Secret Passage. Right?
It doesn't, but it's still 8/8s, right? Like,
True.
yeah.
So it's that in the near future or Secret Passage and then go for that. Given that he even survives the next turn, which is debatable. I mean, what lackeys can even help at this point?
On wings of evil.
Draconid?
Oh, the Dragon Queen doesn't work because you shuffled them into your deck.
Well, I mean, he also just has two other 2-ofs in the deck at the moment, but that's funny. It's farther off from working. And now he cannot clear the Murazons, so Titanic, rush something. Like Titanic and Rush the Cobalt, so you can VT the evasive worm.
I was on board for that, but now it does mean finally, at long last, we've been looking for a way for Bankyugi to close out the game, and he has 17 damage on the board. This feels like it's going to be over one way or the other. Probably one way, very quickly.
Get the news that it's not ambush from Tom. He has seen the dirty tricks, I believe, so he'll know it's plagiarized.
I mean, I'm happy with
Maybe we see one less card played here.
Yeah, well, maybe you just go for the fill up their hand with garbage strategy. Like, you only need to play 2 more cards, right? And their hand is full and they're not getting any more at that point.
Okay, so what are the most garbage cards? Not the death. Not that he has a good target for it anyway.
Generous mummy.
Not like that, there.
Alright, fair enough.
Yeah, I think Inner Fire is fine to give here. So, Alex draws a Rush Lackey. Trade. Gets rid of the 10/10 and the 5/1, but that's your
True.
entire turn.
Share the
What?
Okay, this plus Eviscerate, but then the Reborn is still alive.
Still there! It's still there, Gia!
Yeah. I think Tom's just accepting that it's still gonna be there.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh no, not
Those
the double
do not
shadows!
cast. Those don't work. Okay.
Ay.
Well, he's won board control back, which is an impressive feat against all that damage coming through. But
Truly
is it
impressive.
going to be enough?
Doubtful.
Very
The
doubtful.
Mummy has hit the board. Bankyugi can play pretty much all the spells he wants.
Oh, that's a good draw. Steal the poison guy.
The last secret is ambush. That's all
Yeah.
he needs to be aware of. We'll have 100% information on it as well.
Like, you could just go face, go pyro, renew your wand maker here. I'm sure there's many other lines, but that's just...
Whoa, he's not even taking the free spell before he kills this.
Right into my trap.
Your mind is not your own.
Okay, he's gonna steal the ambush minion instead.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. This does get a 4/4 on board, and I suppose you say pyro Appo.
Yeah.
It doesn't much
The most
matter.
stats on board, so Bankyugi is helping us out here. He's trying to end the game. I appreciate it.
Indeed. Alright, Muro number 1.
Whoa! Step Muro?
Or
That's not that good, is it?
Step Muro, you get a 4/4, a Cabal Acolyte.
In the right order, you can maybe even steal back the ambush minion.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, okay, I'm on board. No, bad order. But then he still has Inner Fire. You can still activate it.
Your mind
Forgot.
Yeah,
is not
so he could inner fire. Well, it wouldn't have activated, right? You have to play the spell from your hand. But he can inner fire the 2/4 here to guarantee the steal on the poison.
puppet. Dance.
Uh-huh.
It's cute. I don't know if it's winning, but it's very cute.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Adorable play.
Oh, and then just the Shadow Madness is so insane.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's just too many ways to deal with this. You can death it, Shadow Madness into the other minions.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
playable
you
on this
like.
turn. Let's throw that down. Maybe he'll even, and I know I'm saying something completely illegal here, Gia, press the hero power button this game. Imagine that.
He did it!
Way!
Oh
Oh!
my god! Priest. This is a hashtag delete priest game if I've ever seen it. But to be completely fair, Tom's luck was off the charts insanely bad this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth wondering if things would have been especially different if they'd gone the other way. I guess having the big one for me is Hanar. Like, having a bigger 6-drop or a bigger 5-drop there, I think was still cleaned up at that point in the game by Bankyugi. It's really just losing Hanar that I think was the most devastating. Oh,
Wait a second.
Elise Shadow Step? Does he still have a Shadow Step in his deck?
He does not, but he has 2 shadows in the deck, which is why the Alex and the Elise are not active yet. But as soon as he gets that, he could dupe the
Oh,
Alex
That's
and
pretty
then get
nuts.
4 dragons? He's
I'm
probably
on
dead
board.
before that happens, but that's very cool.
That is cool.
Think this is your time? It is mine.
Tom's just not phased anymore by like the gazillionth Murazond he's seen this series.
He gets his own generous mummy now, which means that, like, if the shadow is drawn, Tom can, like, pop off with both the dragons from Alex Straza, right? Maybe that's enough? I don't know. It's gonna have to be a lot. He's
Yeah.
very dead.
It's a valiant effort. We both gotta reach here for Tom to find a way to win. And he gets the shadow!
Oh, okay, okay. It's active.
Active, Alex!
You
Is
do
it
that
Deathwing?
first? Yeah, you have to, Alex, right? Deathwing, Murazond,
Team something?
Nazari!
Oh! Nazari? Alive?
Nazari plus Toggle Scheme?
What do you scheme? What do we scheme? The Murazond, right?
Is it not Nazari? You're gonna tank 1 trillion damage.
I don't know. I don't feel like playing full cost Nazari every turn wins either.
I don't think it does. Alex, then? Like, do you...
But then
You
it's
just-
not active. Oh wait, it's just 2 copies.
You draw the
okay,
other one.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's just 2, then it is certainly active by the time you draw 1. Okay, I like it.
Okay, so there's 10, 11,
18,
12...
26,
Yeah.
28 with Apo.
He doesn't have any lackeys that he can buff with the Khan on board.
How can this not be lethal?
He can obviously go Apo Elusha and try and find it from Tom's hand. I don't think I like the sound of that, though.
Oh. Tom is very unlikely to even have more damage because he played the straights already.
Oh, that's not active this turn at all.
Nope. He can't change his health total, even if he
Yep.
could change his armor total. Okay. We'll settle for clearing and staying miles ahead on board. You can do some cute soul mirror plays just to clear everything. You have to create some space first.
Yeah.
Like trading away the stunner and the Cobalt's Falcon. Okay, this is fine too. Bankyugi just never dies from this spot. Okay, 2 Dragon Queens in the deck.
He can passage through to them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's one. Okay. Play it. What's in the box?
Deathwing?
Oh. Not enough.
So trade, try to snipe the Murazon, but
Yep,
I mean, he can heal for another 8 this turn.
that's true.
Mummy is reborn, so he can't quite do this very cleanly. 4-12 into 5-4, 8-8 into 4-4, I'd have to imagine. Hit the 1 and 4, heal back up to 15. Of course, he hits the smallest minion. This is Tom's game against Priest. Are we even surprised?
Oh my god, I am exhausted after one game here, Gia. We're not used to casting these priest games over in APAC, but I tell you what, Bankyugi I think is definitely useful for playing them, because while we were focused on Tom's side for the most part there, I think Bankyugi just played it pretty well, and just, as long as he didn't make any glaring errors, was just massively favored to win right from the get-go there.
It definitely feels that way when you play Priest. The big decisions are at the beginning. How do you deal with their questing? But it was obvious that by around turn 6, Bankyugi had already run away with it, and all he had to do is just make sure there was nothing egregiously wrong to give Tom any window of an opportunity to swing the game back. And by that margin, Bankyugi has definitely played cleanly. I'm just so shocked at the amount of things that could have gone wrong for Tom that went as wrong as they possibly could have.
Right, it was a bad beat, but as we all know how statistics works, if you get unlucky 20 times in a row, the 21st time you have to get lucky. That's just how it works, all right? Don't ask me to explain it. With the Rogue having lost their Priest out of the way, at least Tom doesn't have to play against Priest again this series. He can at least try and have a little bit more fun in the rest of the games. And a Druid Mirror to go for next can definitely be explosive here, with both players going for the... different builds of the deck for both players. We have the Mount Seller version for Tom, which I think probably puts him at a slight advantage here. And then, of course, the Kael'thas version for Bankyugi, which, to be fair, we have seen do some nutty stuff in the Druid Mirror.
For sure. I also tend to favor the Mount Seller version because on average it pops off earlier, but as you said, the one-off Kael'thas, if you can land a Survival of the Fittest early, doesn't matter how wide the other Druid goes as long as you have the broom to start cleaning up with your bigger minions for the value trades. The other thing I want to note is Tom's list is very streamlined. He has 2-ofs on everything except Survival of the Fittest and Legendaries, which means double Wild Growth to make his ramp maybe a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, he takes a little bit of extra susceptibility to aggro because, of course, he loses the crystal powers in this version of the deck. Also losing the Nubasath defenders, but I guess those usually go by the wayside in the Mount Seller version of the deck. Does mean, though, he's more likely, of course, to hit this consistent ramp. Wild Growth ramping up. I don't think you're keeping Overflow as the payoff, even though it's not terrible. You want to hit the power cards, of course, of Guardian Animals on Mount Seller.
I agree. That's why you're running the Mount Seller in the first place. Looking at Tom's list again, I was surprised to see only 1 star in here indicating a legendary. It means he's cut Speaker Gidra, which I never thought would just be omitted like that in Druid lists. I thought the card was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was being cut from the Malagos Druid lists quite a while ago when they were first starting to pop up, which I could understand at the time. I didn't like it, but I could understand, because you had to make room for Geppetto, Swipes, Moonfires, Omu, Germination, whereas in this list, you don't have to make room for quite so many cards. I do still like it personally. I think it's a bit too powerful of a card to cut, but if it means you're getting consistent ramp like this for Tom, sign me up.
He does have the Wild Growth and the payoff, but there's a bit of a dead couple turns in between. Bankyugi, though, he has the payoff, but none of the ramp. Opposite problems, and I would put Tom in a better spot here. Although, Bankyugi does actually have Gidra on curve as a play.
Yeah, Gidra on curve, if anything is played, like, for example, the Lake Thresher on curve, he could, of course, just go Bog Beam, take it out. He doesn't have the ramp to get him to his late game cards, but he has just the survival to get him through to his survival.
Oh, but for Tom, this is super clean now. It's a Bog Beam that's, you know, not on 7 mana, pretty slow, but he absolutely pops off the next turn. Mount Seller, Lightning Bloom, of course in the other order, with Innervate Nature Studies.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm looking if there's any way you can, like, greed it with the Lake Thresher for a turn and then, like, Omega pop off.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument for that for at least 1 extra beast. sometimes
Yeah.
even 2, depending what you get off the top. It's just all a question of can you beat their guardian animals if you go Mount Seller in response.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is because it's not necessarily better to go Mount Seller first if you're expecting guardian animals. They have rush.
True.
The Thresher then can, of course, get the cleave effect instantaneously.
Good point. I think the conclusion that we came to together is that guardian animals is bad either way. So you gotta play like it's not there.
I suppose.
Like whether you go Mount Seller in response to their GA or they go GA in response to your Mount Seller, you're in a bad spot. So Tom is just going all in on the offensive, and at least for now, it's okay because it's 4 minions, so not necessarily gonna clear the whole board as 1 GA.
Yeah, and I guess you do have to go for it, don't you? Like, I really wanted to save this to get a nutty Kael'thas turn, maybe with Overflow, and then you hit the Guardian Animals. But, I mean, if you're hitting Beast like this as well, sign me all the way up.
Got the cleave. Despite having a Thresher in hand, that is such a huge deal. Mount Seller taken off the board. Forced to go on the offensive now.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Double Beast instead of Thresher, I'm on board.
This is definitely an above average partner assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Mark?
Ugh. Yeah, I suppose, Mark. You can just throw it on Broom as a removal spell.
There's argument for Portal because if Kael'thas in hand, just take the cheapest one. But he already has double Bog Beam, so I'm fine with holding on.
Boom! GA coming down. Card draw aplenty available for Tom, and it's looking like it's going to be a close one. Obviously, Tom has massive board control at the moment. That Thresher that he's going to stick on board is a nightmare. Bankyugi on the other side, he just needs 1 or 2 more turns before he can start doing his own nutty plays with the Kael'thas.
Tom held on to this Bog Beam last turn, and looks like he's holding on to it again here. I was going to say, I like the idea of trade 1 minion plus Bog Beam, keep your guy's stealth, because he doesn't necessarily need to use the cards he draws off of the Twilight Runner this turn, so maybe you can even get a better trade with it the next turn. But I would have to assume the last 0-cost spell he's saving for the second Mount Seller.
What to do?
I think for Bankyugi here, this looks like a pretty clean Teacher's Pet mark for me to just have a setup turn. You dump some cards from your hand, and then of course next turn you're looking at Kael'thas, double spell, overflow, hopefully get another activation.
Yeah, or even just straight up survival of the fittest, depending
True.
how the board state looks.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
now that he's used 1 spell and is likely giving up second activation, I have to assume it's going to be a survival turn into overflow instead.
Does look that way.
Oh man. There's a Mount Seller.
Oi, 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 oi.
Broom, but only 1 beast. Probably still take it.
Yeah, he could go Mount Seller, Bog Beam, and then Broom, I suppose, to rush in the beast that hopefully has enough attack.
Or sometimes even just hero power instead can hold
True.
Broom for the beasts in hand. But I do think he needs to go in with the Mount Seller now.
It's just a 5/8 as well. Like, even ignoring the effect it has, it's just massive.
You can also maintain a taunt on board.
Only the
So
creatures.
leaving is a bit more difficult. Although I suppose Bankyugi's already used both the Threshers.
Time waits for no one.
It's so tough. You really want to keep the Thresher around. It's so powerful, but Broomstick with the Twilight Runner for draw next turn. It's a
Or
big
even just the other
expenditure.
Thresher.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can see where Tom's head is at, which is all in on this current offensive
Uh-huh.
because he doesn't feel like he can win the value game. So for that reason, I like going Broom. Push the 4 to face.
Energy. Power.
So this
It
could
was such a big
be
deal, actually, that it was specifically a Death Rattle minion that popped out.
true. Do you think that incentivizes him to go for survival here over overflow?
Yeah. Absolutely, right?
Yeah, you get
Bog
to kill off
Beam
the Mount Seller.
on the taunt Bog Beam, the Mount Seller survival trade.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Yeah, the fact that he used Iron Bark on the last turn means that if you go overflow here, it's super unlikely to get the second full cycle off of Kael'thas, I think. Oh no, Tom has... Okay, it's still 2 Teacher's Pet left as the only beast in the deck.
So if you go for it, you can get a clear on everything except the 4/4, which I think with Kael'thas there, you have to take.
You can clear the 4/4, right? With the cleave?
Oh yeah, of course, the cleave effect. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm on board. Very, very clean.
Tom has held on to his board state. Bankyugi, though, has the survival online. He has overflow and a fair bit of time to put together the biggest offensive. Whoa!
Oh, okay, because he doesn't
Killing
want to
and
heal
then-
it.
Okay.
That's fair, that's fair. You're unlikely to get anything powerful to play with it on this turn.
That's the key word, right? On this turn, I feel like it was worth it to tank the 4 damage to make sure that whatever you play the next turn will guaranteed have rush.
Oh, it's true. It's really close because it's obviously not only tanking 4 damage, you also get a 5/5 that like heals back up to a 5/5, which is really powerful.
It's true, it's true. Well, this specific outcome for Bankyugi is still pretty good. Immediately develops a minion. Tom is far behind on board control, but that top deck is insane.
Oh, do you go for it though? Isn't it? You could go for double 5-drop and then play Ysera and then draw the turn after to try and immediately hit dragons.
Good point. Yeah, I think I kind of like that better.
Oh, he does with
The
this line
Ysera
though.
on board is not very relevant.
Yeah, it gets more complicated though, right? Because he had the Salet's Pride, which drew him the Broomstick 100%. So he can still go runner plus Broomstick, draw 2 cards,
Oh, yeah.
and hope to hit the portals next turn. It's such a deceptively complicated turn.
Yeah, that interaction flew over my head, I'm going to be honest. So because of that, then I do favor having mana spent on Ysera first. Blessing?
Sure, a little bit of extra
Big
buff
boy.
never hurt.
Yep. Tom needs big dragons.
Really big dragons.
As it stands, the size of his minions is nowhere compared to the survival buff board from Bankyugi. Tom could actually also just use a survival himself. He's still running 1 copy of it, despite having the Mount Sellers.
This is, however, the problem with Tom's line, is that if he wants to go for runner Broomstick to draw 2 cards, that means he can't rush the dragons immediately. Whereas if he'd gone Twilight Runner last turn, Ysera this turn, draw 2 cards, hope to hit dragons, then you can get down the animated Broomstick with all of them. With the Innovate, however, he can get down the Thresher as well with this line. It was a pretty good top deck.
That is the most impactful Innervate on turn 10 I've ever seen, or 10 mana that I've ever seen. But as it stands, Tom is still a little bit short of dealing with the Twilight Runner, plus the Iron Bark. I mean, Iron Fur.
Yeah.
Grizzly makes things a bit yuckier too.
Twilight Runner sticks again. We're still looking for Ysera for Bankyugi. Any way to put extra threats on the board.
It's just 4 cards left are second survival, overflow, overgrowth, and Ysera. Ysera bottom 2! Oh no!
Okay, just straight up survival plus Iron Bark. Crazy powerful turn here, even if it's just a 4/4 buff.
You'll take those. At this point, you don't care that the dream portals you get later on will not be buffed by the survival. It's fine. He has Blessing of Ancients to buff that board anyway. the other line is you take the guaranteed draw now to make sure you play Ysera next turn no matter what.
Oh no, I think the line is hold the crystal, the excess mana, so that when you draw your
Right.
Sarah, you can guarantee draw the dragons next turn.
Sorry, I misworded it. I meant
Sorry.
like spend your mana on something that will give you card draw for the
Right.
next turn. And yeah, whatever comes off the top will determine whether he plays excess mana first or later.
It's a smart line. It means he is still... Whoa! Whoa! I mean, I was going to say it still means if Survival of the Fittest is played, the Broom doesn't trade in. Wow.
Oh my god, these dragons!
But now
Evasive
Bankyugi
were-
is guaranteed a board full of dragons on the following turn. tom60229, however, here is going for a crazy powerful turn in his own right already.
It's so hard. What do you pick here? I kind of want the carvings. I think that Tom's best
Carvings
line...
for Rush?
Carvings for board fill, and then try to hit your survival. Kill them before they can get the dragons down.
Oh, but then you burn a bunch of your own dragons, likely though, right?
That's true. Man. It's really, really tough. 5 portals still left for Tom. Doesn't hit any of them.
Waits for no one.
The partner assignment at least gives him some board development. Things to land on with Power of the Wild. Positioning doesn't matter anymore. No more Threshers.
Right,
There's a Ysera.
there we go. Guaranteed full board of dragons on this turn for Bankyugi.
Pretty crazy, huh?
However, on
And
the
if
other
Tom
side,
doesn't end the game next turn.
he doesn't unless he hits Survival of the Fittest as a one-of in his deck.
We are friends now. Hello, friend.
Draw again.
Yeah, this is guaranteed full board. Overflow in hand. 1 fatigue that he takes next turn that maybe
Yep.
comes into play. Tom is representing 14 on the board. Plus 16 from a potential survival, so that is just the out.
Yep, it needs to be a taunt to survive against survival. And he hits
Whoa!
it! What? I still don't know if that's actually enough because he can go Power of the Wild afterwards because of the reduction in mana cost from Kalagos.
Yes. Oh my god! Oh my god. Okay.
Is this
so,
lethal?
Survival. I don't know. You never count here. You just do the thing. 25, 26. It's lethal! It's lethal!
Oh
Trades
my
in the
god.
9-7. Yeah, it's 1 over even with Hero
Yep.
Power and Iron Bark. Oh my god, that was the top deck for Tom. His luck is turning around.
Can you believe it? Bankyugi even hits the taunt, but because of exactly the Kalagos, it's still just enough for Bankyugi, for Tom to take the win. What a Druid Mirror! Oh my goodness.
Insane. I have no words. That was just so intense. I thought Tom was so out of it ever since Bankyugi hit the safe survival, but Tom just playing for board aggressively every single turn, Mount Cellar when he could, holding out for hope of that last survival of the fittest and getting just the right dragons and just the exact amount of minions to close out the game.
Yeah.
That was so exciting.
I mean, it was too exciting. I'm messing up my studio here. My lights are coming onto the camera shot here. Everything's going wrong here, but at the same time, it's not going wrong for Tom. Picks up a very, very necessary win there in terms of taking the series all together. Druid out of the way is very, very nice because, of course, Bankyugi still has access to the Mage on the other side, the Druid Mirror, and that can get a little bit messy, especially with his build of Conjurer's Calling Mage on the other side. You don't really want to be taking the Druid into that one.
Oh, that is a very good point all across the board. It feels like a hot minute since we've seen Tempo Mage get played. I feel like it's about time for a mirror even because this whole theme of this series just seems to be shenanigans on either side. But we do see Tom has queued up the Rogue already, going to be his second shot on it. And honestly, every time we've seen Secret Rogue on stream today, it's felt less than impressive.
Yeah, it hasn't been looking super powerful so far. I mean, like, to be fair, up against Bankyugi on the Priest there, like, both the early both the early questing adventures were obviously dealt with very, very quickly. They never really got to the point where they were able to be dominated onto the board. I think that one thing to be cautious about is the fact that players with Rogue are very cautious to go all in at the start of the game, where they just throw all their resources into a big Edwin or a big questing, which is not necessarily to say that that's correct to go for that route, but it sometimes is. You do have to be willing to play maybe a little bit more riskily with more reckless abandon than some of the players are showing here, especially when you're up against Druid.
That is true. Going all in for the big Edwins, the big questings, and using Secret Passage to kind of play the odds, even though you're not necessarily guaranteed to get a good payoff. It takes an experienced Secret Rogue player to understand when Secret Passage for the unlikely outcome is still your best out. I think that Bankyugi is still choosing what his next deck is. I should hope that he has not once again left his seat for the My Melodies to enter the camera.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think this time he may have a slight network issue that we are going to try and sort through. Thankfully, it didn't happen in the middle of the game, so no game integrity lost there. We are going to go to a short break while we try and figure out what's going on so that everything is in tip-top shape and ready to go. And when we come back, we're going to have the conclusion at 1 game apiece of Bankyugi up against Tom. We'll see you shortly. We appear to have sorted out any issues that Bankyugi has, so all ready to jump into the rest of the series, Gia. He has also locked in the class that he's going for next up against Tom's Rogue, as you mentioned before we had to leave for the break. It's going to be the Mage, the Tempo Mage, which I believe Bankyugi is rocking like 1 and 2 now, with the 3 games that we've seen him play with Tempo Mage in GM, as opposed to like the 30 and 30 sample size we saw on the Highlander Mage. Clearly a much smaller sample size, so we're not going to judge him for his negative win rate quite yet, especially as he could, of course, turn things around up against the Rogue.
And this is a matchup which it definitely feels like whichever deck you play more often is going to dictate who you feel is favored there. I, as a Tempo Mage stan, definitely think that I'm favored as Tempo Mage, especially this list with Bankyugi having the one of natural devolving missiles can be a backbreaker for Rogue's main threat.
Yeah, I think the statistics are generally starting to show that Rogue is ever so slightly in the lead. I think the secrets are an absolute nightmare for Mage to play around correctly, because Plagiarize in particular can just absolutely shut down any of the power turns that Mage is trying to go for. And also the inclusion of Cult Neophyte, if you go for that in your list, which Tom does. So maximum disruption available, but if that doesn't come through, in terms of raw power, I think the Tempo Mage usually can do the slightly more broken thing.
Already an interesting mulligan for Bankyugi, tossing Primordial Studies, which I usually like keeping, but his particular hand I think justifies getting rid of it because he already had 1-drop into 2-drop curve, and by that point you're trying to give yourself more chances to draw Cram Session, Apprentice, that type of thing.
Well, unless Tom is especially committed to guaranteeing the Shadow Step on the Evil Miscreant, I do very much like this play. Use a bunch of your 0-mana spells, but get those lackeys down. Even against the missiles that you know will be in your opponent's hand. Still just really annoying for the rogue for the mage to deal with. Just dominating the board is very powerful.
There was an alternate line of just backstab dagger, where the next turn he could have gone coin miscreant lackey. The downside is obviously you don't get the 1/4 immediately on board, which challenges the Spellwing nicely. But I think it's worth exploring because even if Bankyugi played another minion, he could still stab it.
This is a real battle right now for Bankyugi. You've got the much-needed card draw here. This hand is looking very dry, literally no minions at all, versus what he feels is the necessary reactivity, because he also has no answer to a huge Edwin, a huge questing, and he takes the devolving missiles here.
I have to say, I'm surprised by that, even though I said devolving missiles at the beginning can be a backbreaker for Rogue, specifically because he saw from Tom, the turn was backstab, coin, miscreant, 2 cards that you would really want to hold onto, the backstab and the coin, if you're going for a type of Edwin play.
Oh, look at the synergy. He's got the Scargill into Mermy. Absolutely insane plays here. Obviously joking. That's
okay.
the one, but oh my goodness. My kingdom for a Sorcerer's Apprentice here. What Bankyugi would not give, because his hand just goes absolutely uber nuts if he finds it.
Strangely enough, Tom has a build your own evocation with 3 Ethereal Lackeys as well.
Okay, pretty scuffed version, but I guess you'll take it.
Yeah. But picks up a Plagiarize. That's a really big deal now. That's the secret, which you mentioned is the one that tips the favor ever so slightly in Rogue's direction. So I'd imagine Tom wants to get that online to mess with Bankyugi's big apprentice turn.
Oh, am I crazy for wanting Plague of Madness here? Like, if your board gets frozen and you need to answer a giant, that's potentially an incredibly powerful swing.
It's true. Especially since Stunner against super cheap giants is not that impactful.
Right.
Oh, with 2 evocations, surely he's going to be ripping 1.
It does feel that way, doesn't it? If you can hit a single AI, even a decent secret here, it's pretty good.
Oh, ping! I don't feel like he had mana to ping this turn.
Incredibly
but,
slow.
Oh, right. He's playing around Plagiarize. I keep forgetting. It's always
Yeah.
But now he has full information that it's ambush. And Tom gets to pop off.
That's got to be cold blood, right? I mean, I know I'm a Potion of Illusion gamer here, make no mistake, but 4 damage to faces, sign me up.
Yeah, as the prepped out spell instead of Plagiarize.
Yeah.
It was mega tempting, I will say that. But having Plagiarize on top of your Edwin turn feels like you're attacking the mage from both directions, right? You present a big threat for them to want to answer, but if they go too all in on the answer, you get their huge combo. I think this covers Tom's bases.
The more I see it, the more I come around to it. I usually just want to pick Cold Blood like most of all out of anything, but this is just so clean. He has another Potion of Illusion to come down on this turn for another massive Edwin. More value with the Lackey as well. This is just such a nutty combo.
And the generated Plagiarize. You could see how much Bankyugi was giving, how much respect he was giving to playing around Plagiarize. 3 mana and 2 mana floated the last 2 turns, just to make sure he can safely pop off with Evocation and Apprentice when he gets it. But now Tom has his natural Plagiarize after the one he generated. Not gonna go for it though, because this is still a pretty big Edwin.
Yeah, I guess you're throwing it down. It's big enough, and if you're expecting like devolving missiles as the main answer, you want as many things on board as possible to distract from that.
Oh man, is this Apprentice? It kind of needs to be. It can still be God tier devolving missiles. Good? Bad? Good! Oh, that is a God tier devolving missiles.
That was the nuts. Pretty much. That was as good as it gets.
activations. You know,
It's just
it
cram
kinda
session.
doesn't work well with the evocation. Yeah, I want cram session too.
Okay, saving 4 damage.
I feel like he needs apprentice or bust.
So does he.
But Tom, he held off on the plagiarize last turn. He can play it this turn.
Oh my
Lock out
god.
even that avenue of comeback for Bankyugi. It's not a complete lockout, because obviously Bankyugi can still just play everything, but Tom will almost certainly have a good response if he does.
I just want to give 10 out of 10 for secret timing here from tom60229. He's made
Yeah.
everything so awkward at every single point for Bankyugi. Even now, draw your apprentice, go for the evocation. I'll have my own one, thank you very much.
Yeah, he even gives up Hanar into secret, which is kind of the nuts off of secret passage in other situations, but in this particular case, it would make Tom end up with more cards in hand, which he wants to have room to steal the apprentice cards.
Yeah. Bankyugi sees no dirty tricks trigger, and he says, poop. Okay, anything I play here is just going to be given straight back to my opponent. Not that it even matters, because he's kind of just dead.
Indeed. Flame Ward and... Yeah, Flame Ward ping. I think you take that. And
Yeah,
Cram Session for 1. I don't mind giving the Rogue a 2-mana draw 1.
Yeah, you're not giving them any damage to their hand, and you just pray that is enough. Quite clearly, it is not going to be. Tom can play around every single secret iteration here, apart from maybe Ice Barrier, if it's like Ice Barrier and Flame Ward. Even then, he's going to get the win here.
In the end, Bankyugi going for other generated cards to cheapen his mana giant. On the off chance he survives another turn, but Tom is having none of it. That's gonna be game 3 in favor of Tom.
Very, very nice win on the Rogue. Just showing, as I was saying at the start, the secrets are an absolute nightmare for Bankyugi to deal with. He did not get the power cards he was looking for at any point, but early on, he could not go for the evocation. Or, okay, I will change what I just said. He was afraid of going for the evocation. There was the line he could have gone for of just saying, this can't be a plagiarize or I'm falling too far behind anyway. Which I do think is maybe something players aren't exploring enough. They don't realize how dire of a situation they're in. It gets more complicated when you factor in that an apprentice draw at any point could have just won him the game on the spot. But a very well played game from Tom. Maximum disruption coming in, very nice.
Now that you bring it up, maybe there was an opportunity to say, go with evocation for just 1 or 2 spells, and then be okay with giving them to Tom. Because the added value for Bankyugi is that he's discounting his mana giant as well. And maybe there were different ways to go about it, but I think that Bankyugi still played pretty much to the best outs he could have, and the secret disruption was a little bit too much. And now Tom only has the mage for himself to win with.
He does. Only mage up against both the druid and the mage mirror. Tom is opting for, again, as we've seen most of the time from him, the classic builds of the decks. None of this dragon arcane breath nonsense that we're seeing from a lot of the Japanese and South Korean players. Instead, just going for Conjurer's Calling, 1 Firebrand in there, which is definitely an interesting tech inclusion. Probably not all too impactful against the druid, but in my experience, Firebrand against mage is actually a very powerful card just to stop them from going too high on the tempo in the early game.
Yeah, it could be. And it also has some benefit against druid, against this exact type of hand, which you could see a Twilight Runner come down by itself. Bankyugi's not going to go for keeping it, which I can respect because you'd obviously much rather pull it out from GA. But sometimes druids are forced to just play down the runner normally to get the card draw.
Oh my goodness! Hello?
That's not fair.
That's not fair. Okay, well, it is going to be the turn 3 Guardian Animals here from Bankyugi with Wild Growth into all the GA nonsense you could possibly hope for. And Tom is going to have to find some mighty powerful plays to have any chance against that.
And because of that, I was thinking about Frost Nova, but obviously Tom doesn't know what kind of
Yeah.
trouble he's in this early, so taking a cheap spell for Mana Giant and Apprentice can also make sense.
You fight me, you get
Okay.
burned.
It's a reasonable card to find.
Positioning?
Yes, correct. Positioning question mark.
Yeah. That is a correct question.
Yeah, definitely just slightly mispositioned there. For his sake, hopefully he won't be punished because there's only one Thresher in the deck.
Hey.
Never
But
punished.
obviously this is still a nightmare for Tom.
Ooh, good draw.
Okay.
Good draw.
Yeah, I'm cashing in. Tom is not
Yes.
though.
Okay, I mean, you could still go for it without the Apprentice, right? You just play both spells, Mana Cyclone,
Oh,
and then
true,
hope
true.
that it gives you Evocation.
Good
I
spot.
like this.
I keep forgetting when that is just nearly strictly better.
Right, right.
I
Okay.
honestly couldn't tell you the different names of the ogres by this point. They just mess up where your attacks go.
That's like Sun-Tired Ogre Boy or something. He falls asleep half the time, and he's awake
Yeah.
here.
6 extra damage through to Tom's face. Bankyugi picks up Overgrowth as well, so the Overflow is pretty clean on the next turn.
Uh-huh. Still drawing, trying to find Evocation. It's getting closer. These are powerful cards. One Thief, if it can give him Conjurer's Calling.
Box?
A box!
Box!
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the new win, Kondara. It's not necessarily Evocation anymore, it's just Chain Freezes into Box.
I mean, sign me up. Well, don't, but okay, I begrudgingly accept.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
the potion!
Not bad, actually.
Okay, he's asleep, he's asleep. I don't think the One Thieves are threatening enough to like disrupt an overflow turn. It's pretty
Yeah.
clean for Bankyugi, get the mana spent, so Tom likely still ends up with a decent potion target.
Does seem that way. And, you know, to be fair, he does have a fair bit of time. This has been obviously an incredibly strong start from Bankyugi, but he hasn't done much damage along the way because of the power of the devolving missiles.
Today I learned you can rush a sleeping ogre.
A natural
Huh.
mistake.
I don't know what he's emoting.
Someday I'll be just like you.
I guess overflow order, a tiny thing, if you even know how
Oh,
the interaction
yeah.
works.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Tiny,
I mean,
tiny
if that's
thing.
the level he's holding himself to, then, I mean, I expect big things from you, Bankyugi here.
Respect.
Respect indeed.
Well, he can go Thalnos Potion here.
Mhm.
And then just freeze everything into oblivion.
Yeah, there's no way he can play the second Thalnos here, so you just suck it up, play it next turn.
I don't think he fits in the giant either. Oh wait, these are both still twin spell? Yeah,
Unless that
but
second
he
one's
still
generated.
can't.
Yeah.
It's fine though.
Oh, it was. He can get in the giant.
One was generated, I guess. Okay, it's really hard to keep track of these things, and because of that, I like just playing them down, get the 8/8 online.
Whoa, he's setting up for a big turn. He can go obviously with like a huge Wormweaver, giant Thalnos apprentice turn next turn,
Okay.
and that's, I guess, his win con from where he sees it.
That's fair. Also, just saving your freezes for the bigger threats later on plays more into the box game plan. Gives him another turn of survival potentially. Okay, I like this.
Do you like the broomstick here, though, from Bankyugi? Because I appreciate this apprentice really wants to die, but this is both broomsticks used for very little value indeed. And he might need them with this turn coming through from Tom. This is insane.
Oh, wow. Even the Conjurer's calling. Goodbye, Wormweaver. Another turn, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the broomstick usage. We might be caster visioning
Whoa.
because the exact punish was there. Leaving an
Oh.
apprentice is scary.
That's low damage. That's a very low damage Conjurer's Calling altogether. But, I mean, these 3/3s are pretty nice.
Yeah. Low damage because 12/12 can't go face.
Right, right.
Beasts left for Bankyugi are 0.
And this is where my questions come in, Gia. The second broomstick I can understand, but like the first one to 1/2, was that really necessary? Wouldn't you just take the overdrawn card? Because what are these Lake Threshers doing now?
Not much. Sorry, he has 1 Twilight Runner.
Yeah.
The Lake Threshers are pretty dead in hand at the point. At the time he played the first broomstick so as not to overdraw, but I understand your point.
I just think they're too important in this matchup.
I agree. Porcupine trades into the 3/2 first. Sometimes you get good snipes with the needles. And then
I wonder.
Twilight Runner into Leo Rocks, I would have to imagine.
For no one.
Okay, trying to kill off the Troublemaker instead. That's good snipes.
You'll take
okay.
that. Okay, Dragon's coming through. Taunt is a big, big deal as well.
Yeah. Although, you don't necessarily want to taunt the... I was gonna say you don't want to taunt the Twin Tyrant because the 12/12 trades super cleanly, plus 1 more damage,
Okay.
like ping. So he's not taunting just yet.
Oh, this one's so close, Gia. This one is so, so close. Jandis is a
Snap.
huge draw as well, obviously.
Is it better than Wormweaver missiles? Yeah, probably. Nano Worms are
Probably.
just 2/3s, so
Yeah,
Jandis tends to get you more stat.
I think so. Obviously, if he'd gotten like Evocation there, then we could talk about trying to pop off with Wormweaver next turn.
Wow, Water
Sure.
Bearer.
Yeah, not bad. You can maybe get a nice heal on your minion here.
Missiles, maybe you get to snipe the Ogre.
Time runs out on me.
Maybe
Nope.
not.
Honestly, I was looking at trade the Leorox into the Ogre and play Thalnos instead, but he
Right.
doesn't have to be worried about damage. Ogre can attack, but it
Uh-huh.
doesn't look like it's gonna be enough.
Interesting. I guess if you give it Rush, it can always attack because it's got the Rush border around it, doesn't it?
Ah, I didn't
never
even
knew that.
notice.
Yeah, you learned something today.
He's just permanent rush on it.
Yeah, literally, because
Rush
it just
never
has.
matters except the
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
you play it or every other minion.
Because like sleeping, I guess, is like technically what it's called when a minion can't attack the turn you play.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Summoning sickness.
Well, while we're
Okay.
conducting our experiments, Bankyugi is trying to fight for his life here. And I suppose technically, if you factor in that the 12/12 can't attack face, there's only 4 damage on board. He is surviving for the moment.
For the moment, I'm interested in just playing out the Threshers. You can still Lightning Bloom for them, but okay, Overflow instead. Chances for Dragon, still 5 portals
Oh,
in
yeah.
the deck.
Oh, come on, where are the dragons?
What? Okay, 1.
It's a
That's
pretty
a good
big one.
one.
Needs to
But
clear a card out
overdraw?
of hand. Yep. Woo!
Did he fit in the hero power or the attack or whatever it was? There's just no way he has hand space with both
It's fine.
Skeletal and the Ysera. But no, is it fine? There's still 4 portals in the deck out of 5 cards. They're just getting burned.
Okay, I won't say it's fine. It is what it is, Gia. He's got to live with it
Okay.
now.
Yeah. King Thalnos, look for evocation. That's not the juice, but he just has to survive next turn, and you
Oh
know
my
what the plan
God.
is.
Oh, I've known it all along, Gia. Deep down, I couldn't admit it to myself. But we all knew.
Could be the difference maker. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's actually the best one to draw. Because now the portals survive.
True.
Oh, but if you go survival, then you're still going to overdraw next turn because he's still generating 2 cards.
Survival,
minions.
Bloom, Hero Power. You're still overdrawing, right?
I wonder.
Energy, power,
So we'd have to play 3 cards here? Not
Yeah, so
overdraw?
Tail Toss, Bloom, Overgrowth into
Okay,
Survival,
okay.
and don't play the excess. Okay,
Smart.
I like it. Sure, VT the big
Yeah.
guy.
Oh.
Bankyugi thinks there's only one singular spell
And
that
if he
can deal
wins,
with this. Oh no.
he can mirrors on back if that's the only play as well for another box.
Oh yeah. Bankyugi nods. This is a man who's played Highlander Mage for 5 weeks of GM or something.
Oh yes. Oh, and the subdue is actually terrible with the
Yeah,
blade storm that happens there as well.
The anti-synergy. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh!
Oh! Oh! Disaster! Disaster!
Okay, that's a terrible box.
That was not a
Imagine.
game-winning box. And come on, Bankyugi, make the honorable play here.
Oh yeah. Malagos on board, Murazond into box for lethal. Easiest game of his life.
Life and hope.
Or he could just win this game of Hearthstone, which is potentially fighting for qualification through to the World Championships and Hearthstone Grandmasters. Either or, you know.
The amount of words you said there in a low voice makes me feel like you're the disclaimer at the end of a commercial for a drug. Fine. Don't play the Murazond. Just worried about ambushed. If worried even counts as
Right.
a valid emotion, like, oh, I might not win this turn.
Yeah, the ambush comes in. He's like, you know what, actually, Jaina, this isn't working for me. I'm not going to take this particular job.
Yep. He's like, you fell right into my. Wait, nope, you're not trapped whatsoever.
Okay. Apprentice, Trick, Evocation.
Frost
There's an out.
Nova. Oh, Evocation! Nova?
It says
Lizard?
Yep.
explode.
I mean, just like a bunch of Frostbolts to face.
No!
No, Nova, he can't get a spell with the potion.
Oh man, if he
Pilgrim?
had infinite mana,
Yeah.
another box. Or even like just a cheaper spell damage minion. Between that, the Arcane Explosion, and the Raz, there actually could have been a decent amount of stuff cleared. Not enough, but
There's just nothing.
yeah.
Yeah. You can go for a 4 damage AoE with the Azure Explorer into Arcane Explosion. That's not enough. Yeah, nothing's there. Hoping for Doomsayer off the teacher's pet. Not this time, buddy.
Just at Celestalon, I found a new bug.
Not quite. Druid getting the job done against the mage here, and I'm sure Bankyugi was absolutely terrified when he thought his oldest of friends, Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, might be betraying him in the 11th hour. Not this week, though. He gets to go all the way through to Game 5 Gia, which means Mage has lost again for Tom. Druid has won for Bankyugi here. There's only one matchup left.
It's our favorite, the Mirror. Oh my goodness. They have very similar lists as well. None of the dragons that we are seeing from some of the other players. The only difference is that Tom has cut a Spellwing in favor of the one of Firebrand.
Yes, which I mean, I'm very hesitant to say if it pulls either player into the lead. If it was, it would be very minute differences, of course. But I will say that the more I've played the deck, the more I've become a fan of going for the very high early tempo strategy, throwing out Apprentice in this matchup, especially when they're not running Arcane Breath. I think is something that you can quite often do in the early game. Just a play of Apprentice into Primordial Studies is a lot of tempo if you can hit the lab partner as well, for example, to just throw out all these early minions. Firebrand is fantastic against exactly that. That is where I think Tom maybe has the edge if we do see an early push onto the board from Bankyugi.
Valid points all around. I want to see who starts with the coin in particular, because I think that also influences a lot of the mulligan decisions. For players going first, we've seen Shinvala keeps, which might not necessarily happen for other hands. Oh wow, the goods for Tom.
Yeah, absolutely nutty hand. Love his mulligan decision as well. We've seen too many one thieves, I think, being kept, and he forgets the evocation to go with it. My goodness, that is a hand.
Yeah, you never keep one thief with this hand, right? The curve says coin Solarian into Cram Session, and then he just has Apprentice pop off guaranteed in the future.
Spellwing obviously messes with that because you don't just want to give ping. So I do like the deviation.
For exactly this card, I also do like the deviation, especially since he's picked up Firebrand. So now, oh wow, he can clean up the board with Firebrand instead, or just pop off.
He can, but this is not a bad hand from Bankyugi. If he can find himself evocation off the top to go with Apprentice and double Giant. This game's going into overdrive, Gia. What a way to close out the series.
We're gonna see 50 mana cheated out between these next two turns. Oh my god. Hello?
Yeah, okay, just play
this is still
Firebrand.
hold off one more turn for Tom?
Yeah. I'd be happy with just tempo Firebrand here, I think.
Yeah,
I want to spend my mana, get cards out of your
some
hand.
hand space. Yes. Big deal. For Bankyugi, I'm wondering if you play one Apprentice or both. Probably just one.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Yeah, I think probably one. I mean, there's the argument if you even go for it at all because there's nothing to play your spells against, but whatever, just a secret. He can get Magic Trick as he just got here. Not much else to go alongside it, though.
Oh, Tome! That's pretty good. Oh, the Giant is a little bit short of playable this turn, but still, he has kind of cashed in the mana this turn to pop off with the Giant next turn, hopefully.
And here for Tom, you have to be looking at popping off on this turn. It's very tempting with the Apprentice Evocation Giant.
True. And this is the weird shape of hand where I think it's okay to have both Evocation and Mana Cyclone because he wasn't gonna get that many spells in hand, which you could still just replace the ones you do play with Mana Cyclone, but Tom is holding off altogether.
I think I like this turn from Tom, except I would have ended with just Mana Cyclone there. I think when you have AI in hand, Apprentice plus Evocation, I want a 2-2 on the board, and I want just one spell in my hand. That's good enough.
That's true. Cram Session, like the draw from Cram Session is the same as the draw from Mana Cyclone by that point. So you might as well just take the board presence. Oh. I mean, this is actually good that he doesn't even get that many spells because he wants to replace them with the Mana Cyclone.
Yeah, this is very strong with Cyclone indeed. Fireball, I think probably yes, you have enough draw.
Yeah, between the Cyclone and the AI.
Don't begrudge this one especially though.
It's also just the cheapest one if the goal is turbo out Giant ASAP.
Very true.
Oh my goodness!
Oh man,
That's
this is just
kinda illegal. Giant one short of being played this turn. Oh. Okay. That devolve is huge.
Oh my god, this is going ridiculous! Bankyugi can trade in here, obviously take out whatever minion he wants, probably the Apprentice. Giant Conjurer's Calling is possible on this turn if he plays the Apprentice first.
Yeah, well, yes, because he has other spells most likely drawn off of this to cheapen it further. Wait a second. Was this raid generated?
I don't think so, no.
I don't remember, sorry.
No, I don't think so. And that means that the Giant Conjurer's not playable on this turn?
I wonder.
I mean, now he's obviously wishing he traded into the Firebrand and could just go Raz plus Lab Partner here, but I guess you take the slightly sadder play here.
Yeah. I mean, he still ends up pretty far ahead on board. 2 free cards. I think it's fine. Okay, there's a decent Combustion available here.
Yeah, you can go Frostbolt, Brain Freeze, Combustion, Giant.
Don't pick the one. See?
I was just looking at like trade-in combustion, but your way
Okay.
does get more presence on board.
Sure, yeah, this is better. You have to trade in. You miss 3 damage to face, but you save so many more spells. This seems way better.
And he gets the side quest online. Okay, we have waited pretty long. But this has to be the pop-off for Bankyugi. He can freeze the Mana Giant and then play his own Mana Giant, given that he starts with Apprentice, right?
Right. Is it a full Ray of Frost, though, or just the non-Twin Spell version?
Oh man, I'm not sure. That's a
Yeah.
difference maker. Oh, it
Yeah.
is the second half. Okay.
Right,
So
yeah.
because of that, it has to just be freeze,
Mhm.
giant conj. No need for apprentice anyway. Oh, Coil Fang! He can clear the giant!
Those
Don't you clear the giant? Don't give them a conch target?
Yes, I probably did slightly prefer that, but... Yeah, I did prefer that. But the main point is here, Zaraku is ridiculous on this board. How do you clear that off for Tom?
Don't. I think you just freeze it till Kingdom Come.
Holly? Fireball's half the health? But then he just
Interested
conjures
in
it again.
Spellbender because of the second conch that you know is in hand for Bankyugi?
Oh, true.
I was thinking maybe just Spellbender, then Ray the Zaraku, call it a day. Ooh! Yeah, we're playing that. Trading the Coil of Fang, trade the 2 resulting minions that are left. Or not.
Out on me.
Evocation again?
Evo? Oh my god. I guess he's not killing the Coil Fang here.
Yeah. I really wanted to.
It does give an
After the-
insane conjures, doesn't it, though?
I wanted to trade off with the Wand Maker because it wasn't
Mm.
able to go face this turn anyway. Well, still take the conch. Arcane
Oh.
Devourer.
+2/+2 with every spell played. That could get ridiculous.
Likely just gonna get the 1 activation,
Mm-hmm.
and then Tom deals with it, but it's still a good outcome. Oh man. Bankyugi just doesn't have an answer to these giants. Tom, if there wasn't a taunt in play for Bankyugi, Tom was looking at 2 giants to face. Fireball, Frostbolt in
Yeah.
hand.
He's still going to be trying to finagle that to happen, though.
If he could just generate a Blizzard or Frost Nova, but there's not enough space to make that likely with Evocation. How do you even start this
I
turn?
wonder.
Maybe Ray of Frost and Icicle? Oh, it looks like he's killing the Zaraku. Okay.
Okay, that means a giant can just attack in.
Ooh.
Conjurer's Calling
Ooh.
is such a big draw.
Yup.
So
Value
you
trade
leave the
Coil
Zaraku for a
Fang.
turn. You're killing the Devourer instead
Yeah.
here, I think.
Yeah. 8/8 and 1/2 into 5/9. 8/8 into 7/7.
Yes,
Punch the 8/1.
correct.
You're ahead on board most of the time.
Someone's out on
Oh, what?
Okay, he's going
Just-
this way
That's
first
just
to have
worse.
more... He has
just
more
have less-
flexibility. He could have got a
Oh,
rush.
depending on the result? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like that, though. I just wanted more health on the giant.
Yeah, I mean, if you got like Terralion or Walking Fountain, I suppose exactly, this was maybe better. But I do agree with you there. I liked the more consistent line.
I wonder.
Well, Flame Strike is a full clear with the pings and trades.
You don't even think about it. You just take it. That's absolutely insane.
Flame
Surely.
Strike first, right? And then 5/6 into 8/8. 2/2/1/1 into the other 8/8.
Yeah.
Ping. You miss the ping face, it feels bad, but you're ahead on board.
Yeah, it's the most important thing. Both Giants gone. All 8 drops off the board. A Conjurer's Calling left stranded in hand. Tom doesn't have many cards left in his deck, but boy does he need a Sorcerer's Apprentice to unlock this hand.
So rarely do these mirrors end up in a battle for resources as they did, but ever since Tom's decision to freeze the Zeraku, take some value trades, now it's looking like it is a battle for resources, and he has Fireball to get rid of Zeraku and then go from there. Proto Drake? Punch? Oh, I was super interested in Proto Drake just as the next turn's play.
I think you just want cheap cards. This hand has so much value right now.
That's not a cheap card, but that's a good one.
Someday I'll be just like you.
Okay, Apprentice Cyclone. This could be an insane turn for Bankyugi to get the value he needs on the other side.
Still can. How are they both still so healthy? Oh,
the value
my
coming
goodness.
through. Font is insane.
4 spells now? 5 with the Arcane Missiles?
Okay, Azure instead of 1 Thief, fine.
Learn Draconic. Hold the Conj for your Azure, I'd have to assume. Just play the Secret? Both of them?
Yeah, get that mana spent.
Time runs out on me.
What mana? He's not spending any mana. Okay, Steward. He's just creating value one way or another. Tom starting off the turn immediately. No time to overthink on the secrets. I think that's fair.
Ooh.
Is that the Shifty Sophomore?
Shifty Sophomore, yeah, exactly. Getting him a combo card when he plays a spell, that's pretty good. I guess you'll take that. Yeah, wow, true.
Okay. Now knows the other secret has to do with attacking face. So Flame Ward, Vaporize, Ice Barrier. Oh, sorry, I forgot her entity.
Yeah.
You just play the evasive form?
That's what I'm looking at.
I
Stats on
kind
the
of want to
board.
save the missiles for Malagos. It currently doesn't go well with anything else in hand.
Yeah, that's definitely still a thing.
Okay, you can do this and just ping trade as well. This game is getting so weird.
It really is. I've never seen a Mage Mirror play out quite like this.
It's like a very low impact rolling fireball, but maybe you just do it to take 4 to face.
Oh, I don't think so. I think I want to go Steward into Conjurer's Calling, right? Or see what you get, of course.
Yeah, I'm on board. Oh, Ray of Frost. Wait, Apexis Blast! Oh, it's so difficult to gauge where Bankyugi stands in the matchup.
Yeah.
Is he just trying to aggro Tom down, burn him down? Or does he need more rays?
I think it's Ray. I think it's just like a better card. You're not quite at the point where you're going face damage yet.
Okay. So now it's the con. Okay, you can still one thief. Power of Creation!
Power of Creation is huge!
Time runs out on me.
And
What?
again,
Takes AI?
he still has Prime in his deck and Jandis.
No, the egg!
Not the egg! Oh, Flame Strike is so big.
Yep, Flame Strike Missiles Ping is so often a clear. Oh, no, not with the double 6 health minion on board. Sometimes a clear.
Yeah,
What to do?
but you gotta take
What
it.
to do?
Oh, it's just not even that good, though. Like, most of the attack is still left on board. I guess you do have to take it.
And then Bankyugi has full turn of initiative again. Oh my god, don't tell me this is just box.
What to do?
Ah, it's just box! It is
Oh my
just
god!
box!
How does it come down to this every time?
I don't know, man. Bankyugi, even when he's not playing Highlander Mage, finds a
My
way.
hand is too full.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this is another bad one. It's looking like for Tom. That's good.
Okay.
Runs out on me.
That's most of the time not good.
Oh.
That's fine. The end turn button is green, so Tom can't do anything else. That was the box, and he leaves so much damage in play.
21 rolling fireball. It's just almost lethal right there.
So close. But
Where's
the
his Sphere of
Taunt Minion
Sapience?
resummons itself.
He
Pretty
needs to hit
funny.
for 2.
Yeah. Rolling fireball. Deals with everything. He gets to connect for so much to the face. Is there anything off One Thief that gives him lethal right now?
Whatever it is, Tom has reached some zen state of harmony here because he doesn't even look like he's looking right now.
Another rolling fireball. Well, it's the flame strike setup that wasn't there last turn,
Mm-hmm.
so he could stay alive
Correct.
just barely. Ding, faceless lackey. Okay, Spellwing instead. He wants to get the other missiles for the Malagos. This
Oh,
game
true.
is still going. But Bankyugi just has the Sky Stalker with Conj. Another huge
insane.
board state.
Yeah. It needs to be a massive response from Tom.
I will crush your
Not
delusions,
Conj?
grandeur.
Okay, sticky minions instead.
Okay. Even if the Malagos missiles did work, there's still a death rattle underneath
Yeah.
this 5-6, so...
Jandis Kunj?
And then you need a rush or a taunt or you're dead on board.
Right.
Maybe Malagos is just better odds, like you leave a 3-4 most of the time.
How many missiles do you get? 12? Oh, Gia, give us the odds.
No, 8 each, right?
Oh, yeah, of course, it's not 1. Yeah, okay, 16. Whoa. All
There we
right.
go! Maybe
Fair
they
enough.
all go face. Okay.
Wow!
Oh, he got
What?
the... Wow! That's insane.
Oh my
But if
god!
he doesn't kill either of these... Okay. This
Oh
is
my
the
God.
amount of power I expected to be on board after all was said and done.
Yeah. It was a crazy first one, but the expected second one.
Yeah.
Jandis Kundra's calling, freeze the Malagos? Are you really leaving Mali on board?
What about... Oh, there's 2 primes in the deck. Is it AI? I don't know.
Rolling Fireball Ping allows you to clear, but then you only have 3 mana left. Oh!
There's the prime! Oh, it can't end like this, can it? It looks like it's ending like this.
Oh.
That's it. Oh, what a
Bankyugi,
terror.
you can breathe. Gives the almost habitual prayer at the end there saying, thank you again. He does it after winning, he does it after losing. Always a good sport is Bankyugi. And my goodness, must he be elated after having slugged it through that one. What a heartstopper of a final game in that series.
I'm out of words. Tom, he found really good lines consistently outside of the value trade off the wrong giant that I feel could have been optimized. I don't have any complaints for the lines he went for. Possibly he was even better than what I wanted to do, which was be less patient with the
Yeah.
sorcerer's pop-off turn. Bankyugi, though, found lines to make sure he was on board every single turn, even though he had much fewer cards in hand than Tom for the entire latter half of the game. That's why it's still Tempo Mage in the end, even if you generate all the value in the world. Doesn't matter if you can't connect that damage to the face.
Yeah, I mean, I still just honestly don't no at the end there from Bankyugi, because I'm still kind of advocating for power of creation over the arcane intellect, but to be fair to him, he knew there was a prime in his deck and a Solarian natural non-prime version in the deck, so AI does work very nicely with that. He realized that might be the power spike he needs to play for. Power of creation would have been very strong as a development onto the board, but it was the AI that ended up winning him the game in the end. So many different variables moving around all at the same time. And I think Bankyugi showing us that even though he does seem to overall prefer the Highlander mage, he's definitely got what it takes to switch over to the more standard tempo mage and take the win there